All right, Nick, let's talk about the Seattle Seahawks. Some interesting news. One of the great young offensive minds of the NFL today, head coach Sean McVay of the Rams, had some interesting things to say about Seattle's new head coach, Mike MacDonald, one of the great young defensive minds of the NFL today. I'm Andrew, and this is Saturday Morning Inspection. As I alluded to, Nick, Sean McVay had some really interesting things to say about new divisional rival head coach Mike MacDonald. Let's get into this article and then we can talk about what that means on the other side. This, of course, is over from mynorthwest.com. It says, on Tuesday, McVay gave some pretty lofty praise with his new NFC West rival head coach. At the end of an hour-long conversation with Robert Mays on the Athletic Football Show, McVay was asked what it was like facing McDonald in a Week 14 game last season, when the latter was in Baltimore as the defensive coordinator. Baltimore won the game 37-31 in overtime. He said, I thought they did a great job of playing coverages where you're like, I don't know what the heck I'm going against because of the way they're teaching guys, McVay said. They teach an understanding of how route concepts distribute and how you don't have to work as hard throughout the course of the down to allow things to be able to progress. You felt like you're playing against 13 players sometimes. There was such a well-coordinated and well-executed executed defense from the players to the coaches, and I respect the coordinators the most that you can see the intent behind what they're trying to get done, and I thought that showed up consistently on his tape. Nick, I think this is great praise from head coach Sean McVay about new head coach Mike MacDonald. I think Seahawks fans should be really excited about this news. Curious what your thoughts are, but Seahawks fans, in the comment section below, we're talking about Mike MacDonald. We're talking about all the things that he could potentially bring to this team. So I want to know to you in the comment section below, what defensive unit do you think will benefit the most from the addition of Mike MacDonald as head coach? Is it the linebackers? Is it the D line? Is it the secondary? Who do you think has the most room to thrive in this Mike MacDonald scheme? Let us know in the comment section below. And while you're down there, check out the description below the video. We have a recommendation of one of our favorite NFL books. That's Playmakers by Mike Florio. It's a really great book, and we have an Amazon affiliate link in the description below the video. It costs you nothing extra to use it. It helps us out tremendously. So if you want to take our recommendation and pick up a great NFL book, use our link in the description below the video. But Nick, what are your thoughts on the comments about head coach Mike MacDonald?
I mean, first of all, this is the greatest endorsement you can possibly get in terms of Mike MacDonald being the right head coach, the right fit. Because we know McVay, obviously a very successful head coach, brilliant young offensive mind, like you alluded to, right? He is arguably one of the smartest people in football. We've talked about him a lot over the past couple of years, all the smart moves he's made, even the ones that kind of fly under the radar. McVay, very intelligent human being, very successful coach because of it. And yet, with all of that in mind, you can tell by his words, by his context, he is not happy about having to match up against Mike MacDonald and the Seattle Seahawks defense twice a year starting this upcoming season. And that's just respect. That's recognizing that what Mike MacDonald does defensively basically has a way to beat and confuse what this McVay Shanahan offense is trying to do. And no one has been able to do that yet, by the way. We know that the 49ers have obviously made a couple of Super Bowl runs. The Rams made a Super Bowl run. The Bengals made a Super Bowl run with the McVay offense, right? The McVay Shanahan offense has basically dominated the NFL for pretty much the past 5 years. No one has really had a consistent answer. Maybe the New England Patriots in one Super Bowl, but that was more Jared Goff's limitations physically than anything else, right? Than any sort of destruction of the scheme, destruction of the game plan. But listening to Sean McVay, he thinks he's found someone that is smart enough to beat his offense, smart enough to confuse it. I love the words he used there, saying it's like they're playing with 13 guys, because the whole concept of these modern offenses is to break NFL rules, NFL defenses rules, and put them in situations where they have to have one defender in two areas to cover two guys or have two responsibilities. Whichever way they go, they're going to be wrong. They're going to go the other direction, the offense is, and it's going to be a big play for the offense. That's sort of like the high level 30,000 foot view of the McVay Shanahan offense. But the fact that McDonald and his defense basically makes the offense think there's two other defenders on the field, it completely blows that whole strategy up. And I think that's why McVay is concerned. And frankly, I think that's why he's a little scared and worried about what the Seattle Seahawks are going to be like in this division. And if he's scared and worried, you better believe Kyle Shanahan is feeling a lot of the same stress. And frankly, every offensive coordinator that has to go up against Mike MacDonald in Seattle is feeling the exact same kind of stress. I know a lot of people look at the Seattle Seahawks this year and they're not a favorite pick to make a deep playoff run, despite the fact they had back-to-back winning seasons, right? This is a lot better team on paper than people are giving credit for. But what Mike MacDonald's going to bring to this team with his intelligence and his defensive strategy is so criminally underrated right now. But if you listen to the competition, if you listen to the other coaches, they really respect what McDonald is doing here. And honestly, they're scared to play the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, Nick, and when you look at this roster, you look at the rankings, I think we're going to get a picture of what could come. The offense, I think they're doing pretty good. Last year, they ranked 11th overall. They're just outside of the top 10 offenses in the league. I think there's going to be a little bit of progression there. But the defense, on the other hand, they're 14th, which I don't think is bad. But I think Mike MacDonald coming in gives them that significant boost. And they've added a lot of great players to this defense as well. You look at Dodson at linebacker, bring in a bunch of guys around the ball. I think this secondary under the tutelage of Mike MacDonald, to my answer to my question from the beginning, I think they're going to benefit the most from Mike MacDonald, the way that he runs his coverages, the way that they run these schemes. People aren't going to know exactly what's coming or what it could do with these guys. And with the talent they have there, with Witherspoon, with Tariq Woolen, I think this secondary is going to be phenomenal as well. So I agree with McVay. I think, it's going to be tough. I think it's probably not ideal to have Mike MacDonald as the new head coach of the Seattle Seahawks. And if I'm a Seahawks fan, I'm going to be really excited to see if this Baltimore style of defense is going to come to Seattle and how it's going to dominate the NFC for the future.
And you talk about Mike MacDonald's impact, what he can do to do a defense overnight. In 2021, according to PFF, the Ravens had the 22nd best defense in football. In 2022, they hired Mike MacDonald. They went from 22nd to 3rd in one season with pretty much all of the same talent in very tough competition, of course, in the AFC with a lot of great offensive playmakers. That's the Mike MacDonald effect, right? That's overnight going from below average to elite, and he maintained that in 2023. That's why opposing coaches like Sean McVay are concerned. That's why they're worried. Mike MacDonald is the next genius, even though that's a little hyperbolic. I truly believe it in pro football, and it's clear the Seattle Seahawks will benefit from him being there.